to PM Anonymous. We'll take a trip down memory lane today. Emily, I'll share a story of when I went down to the East Coast. I'll withhold the name of the firm because I don't want trouble. But I went out there to train project management, and I was training them on the different dimensions of planning. And I trained them on the 10 areas that surround planning and a little bit more. And one of them went off on a tangent and said, Phil, we know how to communicate with our clients already. Why do we have to plan that? Do we have to plan everything under the sun? And he pretty much just ripped apart the whole planning of communication thing. What would you say to such a project manager that's all riled up like that?
Well, I would always try to calm a riled up project manager down. They've got enough stress in their life as it is. However, I think communication is arguably the most important piece of a project. And I've actually been involved in many projects where just simply, if we would have had communication, we would have saved money, we would have been able to hit our schedule. In fact, a project that I was on recently had to do with communicating work process change to 6,000 employees within the organization. And we hit a barrier because we didn't have a great communications plan. And what was happening was at the high level, the VPs, the directors, they knew these changes were coming, but they weren't talking to their resources. And the resources were who also we needed on our program in order to interact the changes that were necessary for all the employees. And so if we would have had a mechanism to talk to the organization about their changes, which was part of the project, that was the reason why the project happened, but also a mechanism or really talking points even for directors to use to talk to their resources, then we wouldn't have had such a difficult time filling the skill gaps that we needed in order to bring those scarce resources into the project. So that's just one thing. That's a major piece, and that's one project. But there's so many subtle areas that it's hard to measure where you lose out on project performance because you didn't have the communication. And that's probably where that project manager was coming from. Projects are fine. I don't come up with a project management, a communications management plan, and we're fine. We hit our schedule and our budget. So.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't as intentional as they should be in communicating, I feel. I feel that the PMI, the Project Management Institute, they have a point when they say, plan communications management. Plan what you need to communicate, why you need to communicate, when you need to communicate, and how. And in the example you gave, the how was obviously lacking. And the dimensions of the how really depends on the project. For some projects, the how is a two-liner, and for other projects where you've got 6,000 people to communicate to, hey, that could end up being several reams of papers long or a customized solution. But communications is really important. As you know, the project manager supposedly spends anywhere from 70 to 90% of the time doing nothing but communicating. So why not plan what you do for the most of your day as a PM?
And then you might get some of your time back if you're able to communicate efficiently and figure out where you can more streamline your communication. In some cases, you can just put information out there maybe on a SharePoint site, maybe on a website, and then your stakeholders can pull that information into them when it's necessary. In other cases, you're going to have an interactive type of communication. We need to sit face to face so we can see each other's faces and talk about problems and solutions. And so it's really necessary in this day and age also to be efficient with your communication.
That's true.
What are you used to? How are you used to communicating now as just a regular person that lives in this world?
That's true.
Sound bites, right?
Yeah.
140 characters, perhaps, in some cases.
That's true. I mean, even the biggest organization in the world, they're realizing that they need to have the KISS principle, the KISS principle, which is keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple. Keep it brief and go straight to the point. I was reading one of Donald's books, Donald Trump, and no, he's not the most famous of people right now.
Or maybe he is.
Or maybe he is in the other direction. But in one of his books, he talks about how an employee came to him and was telling him about one of his properties and went off on a tangent trying to dance around the issue without being brief and blunt. And then the Donald says, give it to me in 10 words or less. And he says, Mr. Trump, it stinks. He didn't even need the other 8 words because sometimes keeping it brief and straight to the point helps. So communicating, again, has to be planned, whether you need to keep it as brief as possible, whether it's the 140 characters, whatever it is, keep it simple, say it slowly, have a smile, and, say less. As John says, that's his KISS principle. And I think with that, probably our project manager has some food for thought. So again, thank you very much for your audience, and look forward to talking to you again soon.